Hi designers! In this video, I am going to show you a template to use in your Photoshop renderings, which will help make sure that your furniture, artwork, and accessories that you show are depicted accurately and to scale, so your clients aren't surprised when items arrive and they're larger or smaller than what was shown in their renderings. So we're going to start in this room shell here. This client has told me that their ceilings are 9 feet tall and that the room itself is 18 feet wide. So I know that I want to start with a room that is approximately twice as wide as it is tall. We're going to set that aside for now and move over to our grid template. So in this grid document, which I will share with you all as well, you'll see that I've created a 1 inch by 1 inch grid, which corresponds to 1 foot by 1 foot on the final layout. So when using this grid, remember that 1 inch equals 1 foot in your final rendering. For an example, let's move over to this client's furniture. So she has her existing sectional and a couple pieces that she wants to incorporate into a gallery wall. To make resizing and scaling even easier, I have gone ahead and renamed the layers with their dimensions. And this is a helpful tip so that you don't have to flip back and forth between the rendering and board builder or your source list. You have all the information here that you'll need to start resizing. So let's start with her sectional. You'll see that it's 116 inches wide, so just under 10 feet. So we'll align this with one of our grid lines and we'll resize it. So let's count out 10 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This, we want it to be just under 10 feet, so about 9.5. Great. Set that aside for now. And let's do the same thing with her artwork. I like to work over in this blank space here just to make sure that I'm resizing things appropriately. This one is 16 by 16, just over a foot by a foot. Perfect. This mirror is 20 inches in diameter, so just under 2 feet. Perfect, and you can start to place these where you think they might go in the gallery wall. What I really like about having this grid in Photoshop as well is that your pieces kind of snap to the grid, so it's really easy to resize and align your pieces. So this one is 14 inches tall by 21 inches wide, something like that. This one's a little bit smaller. This one is 10 by 12. Let's align it here. So this one you'll see it kind of just snaps to that foot, which is really nice since it is a foot tall. And let's resize our last piece here. This one is 20 by 26. Just over 2 feet tall. Perfect. So now once I have everything positioned where I want it, I can see if any of my pieces maybe need to go back to my source list to see if they should be bigger or smaller. This looks all right to me, so I'm going to go ahead and move this into my final layout. Before I do that, I want to link all of my layers. So you'll select everything, link them. And this makes sure that none of your pieces get resized accidentally and thrown out of scale. This just makes sure that everything stays accurate as you move it around into your final rendering and as you continue to add or subtract from this piece. So let's move this over. Awesome. You'll see that it comes in pretty large. If you remember, this wall is 18 feet wide and our sectional is just under 10 feet. So this feels like it's maybe a little too big. We can resize this as one unit now that we know that it's done to scale. And we want this sectional to take up about half of the width of the room. So we can eyeball that portion. That looks about right. And then we can place this where we want it in the room. Maybe I want this a little off center. I'm going to add a chair or two. I can go back and add a rug, a coffee table, some end tables, etc. And for that portion, you won't need the grid template, but you can use the pieces that we've already resized in the grid template as a reference point. So keep in mind that this grid method is accurate only when looking head on at a wall or a piece of furniture, but it can be helpful as a reference point when you're starting to pull in other pieces. So you all can find this grid template over on Confluence under Photoshop Assets, and I hope you find it helpful.